The galaxy is a big place, and apparently 16 archetypes wasn't enough to cover the sheer chaos of the Stellaris player base. You commented, you self-reported your space crimes, and you felt left out. I'm sorry. So from the chronic restarters to the gods of console command, here are 23 more types of Stellaris players. First up, the player who hasn't actually seen the year 2210 in 3 months. They aren't playing a strategy game, they are playing a slot machine, and not the Galatron type. If they don't spawn next to a ruined science nexus with the Cyberx precursor and 3 25-sized Gaia worlds within 2 jumps, they alt F4 and start a new game. By the time they finally get the perfect start, they're too exhausted to actually play, and quit Stellaris for a few months, until obviously getting drawn back in with the thrill of the perfect start. While everyone is arguing over alloys and research, the Unity Rusher is speedrunning the spiritual heavens. They finish 3 tradition trees before you've even found your first neighbor, and they'll have a sub 20-year species ascension and more edicts active than a galactic dictatorship. They'll of course be sure to tell you that Unity rushing is the new meta every 5 damn minutes. The Gestalt Enjoyer, on the other hand, has a physical allergic reaction to the words consumer goods. Ooh, I shudder just speaking them. They forgot what trade value was until Paradox added to Gestalts in 4.0. They still don't forgive Paradox, and they find the concept of happiness inefficient and just want to be a giant brain or a very hungry bug. If they ever have to play a normal empire, they experience immediate death. The democratic Crusader, on the other hand, start every game as a beacon of liberty and justice, swearing they'll be the good guys. Fast forward to 2350, and they're glassing a planet because the local inhabitants didn't appreciate their brand of freedom. They don't see it as a war of aggression, they just see it as forced liberation by orbital bombardment. The Xeno-Hoarder is the Xenophile on steroids. Their goal isn't to win, it's to collect every species in the galaxy like Pokemon. They always, and I mean always, take a Xeno compatibility, much to the horror of their computer. Fortunately, 4.0 fixed that. Their species list looks like a chaotic rainbow, however, they don't mind the 2 frame per second endgame lag, they just want to see a portrait they haven't seen before, and of course complete their Xeno collection. The Empire Architect will spend 4 hours in the Empire Creator, making the perfect backstories, custom flags, and color-coordinated ship sets. They'll get inspired by a YouTube video or some sci-fi book, series, or film they're watching, build a masterpiece, and then only play for 10 minutes until they get a different idea and go right back to the main menu. Their Empire list is 400 empires long, and they haven't seen a crisis since tiles were in the game. The Galactic Politician, on the other hand, will spend 99% of their game in the Galactic Community and Diplomacy menu. They do not care about fleet power, they only care about diplomatic weight. They will spend hundreds of favors and thousands of influence just to pass the Tyanki Conservation Act, purely to spite their rival. They are the Senate, even if the Senate currently has no ships and is being eaten by a devouring swarm. Next is the absolute legend. They're subscribed to this YouTube channel, getting us closer to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you. Also put notifications on. The Human Supremacist is the human fighter of Stellaris. No matter how many cool lithoids, plantides, machine portraits, and other mechanics Paradox adds, they're locking in Commonwealth of Man every single time. It's 2026 and they're still out here shouting, "Suffer not the Xeno to live," or wearing a very serious peaked cap at their desk. The Explorer is a mix of the role player and lore hound. They don't care about winning, they just want to find every astral rift, excavation site, and unique system. If they don't get a cool legendary paragon or system, they will feel empty inside. They treat the game like an interactive novel and get genuinely annoyed when a war interrupts their exploration of the galaxy. The console cheater will have the wiki's console commands page permanently open on a second monitor. As soon as they load up the game, they type research all technologies, max resources, and instant build. Then sit there for 300 years acting mysterious and ancient. They only awaken to wipe out the crisis with 10 million fleet power they definitely didn't earn. Now for this one, we're all going to have to put Fs in chat because it's the bravest soldiers in our community, the console players. They're playing a game designed for a keyboard and mouse, using a joystick and a dream. They're perpetually 3 DLCs behind, maybe even more, and live in fear that an update will break the game and then a hotfix will take about 4 months to come out to fix it. They secretly envy PC mods while publicly claiming that the controller feel is just more immersive. Hang in there, soldier. The Overlord's goal isn't to own the galaxy, it's to own the people who own the galaxy. They play the vassal game like a violin. By mid-game, they have 15 subjects paying them 75% of their basic resources, research, alloys, and consumer goods. They don't even build resource districts anymore, they just sit on their capital and collect rent from the entire universe. Next is one of my favourite playstyles, the Turtle. You're going to find a nice corner, fortify your choke points with 200,000 strength starbases, and effectively delete the diplomacy button. The Turtle is a speed bump on the map, speed bump with T. You can try and invade them, but you'll lose your entire fleet to a single pulsar outpost while they're busy micromanaging a single planet. Next is the waiting for the next update player. This player wants to play Stellaris, but they also stay on top of dev diaries. Well, I can't start a game now, they say. The new DLC comes out in 6 weeks and it reworks the entire internal politics system. They haven't played a full session in 2 years because they are perpetually waiting for the definitive version of the game. There's always one patch away. It's not happening. Next is the most relatable player, the casual. They want to tech rush, but they forget to build labs. They want to go wide, but they get overwhelmed by the alerts. They play an unholy middle ground of mostly okay at everything. They consider a bit of accidental map painting to be roleplay, and they're just happy to be here, even if their economy is held together by duct tape and hope. Next is the YouTube Copycat. There's nothing wrong with that, but they'll see a broken 1 million tech build on YouTube and try to replicate it day by day. Usually they fail because they missed one specific micro step in year 2204, and now they're sitting with a bankrupt economy and 40 research per month, while the video promised them the moon. They'll try again tomorrow with the next thumbnail they see. The Micromanager is the reason the pause button exists. They refuse to use planetary automation because they don't trust the AI to build a single district, and by the mid-game, they spend 40 minutes on every single in-game month, manually checking all 84 planets to ensure every single pop is working the exact right job. They're exhausted, their wrist hurts, and they've never seen the fast-forward button. The Elitist believes if they aren't suffering, they aren't playing. They also think this is the only way to play. They play on Grand Admiral 25 times Crisis, all with 0 guaranteed habitable worlds and no scaling difficulty. They believe that if you haven't played Iron Man mode with self-imposed no exploit rules, your opinion on the meta is invalid. They want the game to hurt not only for themselves, but everyone else. The Observer is inspired by Drew Durnell. This player doesn't actually play Stellaris, they watch it. They spend 20 minutes in the Empire Creator setting up a perfect balance of custom-made AI nations. They immediately open up console and type Observe, and then lead back with a bowl of popcorn. They aren't interested in ruling the galaxy, they're interested in the World War space drama. They spend hours tracking a single minor conflict between 2 AI empires over a useless nebula, narrating the rise and fall of civilizations like a galactic historian, and only intervening by console commands to balance the law if one empire gets a little bit too spicy. The Save Scummer is the master of the Chrono Shift, also known as reloading a save. The scientists died in an anomaly, reload the last autosave. The Shroud gave them a bad covenant, reload. Their favourite admiral died of old age, we're going back to the last autosave. Their timeline is a chaotic mess of what ifs, and they refuse to accept a single negative outcome. I for one think the negatives make the game interesting, but who am I to say? The Megacorper don't want your systems, they want your money. They spend the entire game begging for commercial packs just so they can put a fast food franchise on your capital. They're the only player who actually enjoy the branch office UI and will get legitimately upset if you transition to a hive mind because it ruins the market demographics. The Randomiser is the true chaotic neutral of the community. They hit the randomize button on the Empire Creator and force themselves to play whatever curse combination the game spits out. A spiritualist, pacifist, authoritarian fungoid with the post-apocalyptic origin? Sure, they say, let's see how this goes. They're usually dead by 2250, but they had a weirdly great time getting there. I didn't realize this had such a big community, but had many comments saying this is how you play. I respect it. The Automator is the polar opposite of the Micromanager. They turn on planetary automation, set their construction ships and science ships to auto, and let the AI design their ships. They know it's not optimal. They know the AI is building 5 precinct houses on a mining world. They simply just don't care. They're here for vibes and the pretty lights, not a spreadsheet. So did you find yourself in part 2, or are you still waiting for the next update? Let me know in the comments which one you've evolved into, or any I've missed. Surely that's all of them. Now, if you didn't see part 1, go and watch that. Otherwise, watch the time I use mods to play as Optimus Prime and reclaim Cybertron. Click it now.